Okay, I'm all set up, and as you can see, I've got MSNBC again, and uh, CenturyLink is canceled, though I've got a few more days until my billing cycle's over. But I've run the tests, and everything is working a lot faster. So, so far so good, despite the rough beginning of trying to contact people. But excuse me, service seems to do very well, and tested online, and it's working faster as well, especially with testing downloads and such to see if that was faster. So yeah, a 30-minute program took me 15 seconds rather than several minutes. So yeah, it's doing much better, and très bien. So same price as I had been paying before DirecTV decided to jack up my price double the amount that I was paying after 1 year of service. So sorry DirecTV, you lost out on a lot of money. I think I figured it's $100 would be, they were wanting $1,200 a year, and so cut that in half would be $600 a year that I would have been paying them, and as a result, they're only going to get $120 for the remainder of the cancellation fine, fee, or whatever they call it. So instead of 600, and definitely instead of 1,200, they're only getting $120, and that's just for the 1 year. If they had backed off and not jacked up their prices, I would have kept their service and would have been still with the poor CenturyLink service. But I would have been paying $600 a year that DirecTV would have been getting. AT&T now taking it over. So is that good business practice for them? I think not. So, if businesses are focused on money rather than customer service and employee satisfaction, you destroy your business. And I saw that with Blockbuster when I worked there. They were focused on money. And so when I came on, Michael, the manager, was willing to do things to improve customer satisfaction, because when you improve customer satisfaction and you take care of your employees, as Michael did, you generate a lot more revenue. And Blockbuster did not like that. We were scheduled to be done away with. Our store on Bangerter and is it 54 or 56? It used to have an Albertsons there. I think the Albertsons is now closed, and it's now Czech City or some Czech place that's now there in that building. So yeah, the landlord purposely drove up the price of the rental in order to force Blockbuster out. That also made it more of a decision to take away that location. But yeah, if people insist on making money rather than taking care of your customers and your employees, your business will backfire. Your business attempt, or your whatever you call it. And that's why businesses keep collapsing and losing money and not making as much money as they ought to or could. That's why the church is not making as much money as they could, and yet the church is the #1 money maker of any and all religions, even over the Catholic Church. They could be making more if they just listened to me, and they chose not to. So they lost $1 million that first year when they did their conveyor systems in the distribution center warehouse. And I warned them. You can't do individual items in a conveyor belt. It's just going to slow the process down. It's obvious. I was on the pick lines. You have people stationed around the pick line who pick from the boxes right into the customers' boxes to be mailed out. And that's the fastest that you can do, unless you get an automated system to go around and pick the items. That would be the only faster process. But they wanted to put it all in a conveyor belt, or in a storage unit system, and a mechanical arm going in, pulling out the location item, and then it got picked by the picker. Very, very slow. It's just, and then you got the problems of you got to make sure you put the right item in the right location so that when you select which item you want, that you're getting the right item. And yes, there were many of those problems. It's just unbelievable, the stupidity of and the gullibility that they got suckered in to a worker's friend or family who owned the company and did the deal. It's fine for full case lots because the storage unit, the crane goes in, pulls out the full case lot, and it's placed on the conveyor, sent right down to shipping. Quick, fast, easy. That worked fine. Individual item picking, no. And I warned them, don't do it. And they did it. Because what do I know? So, yeah, the churches made some major errors, and it cost them. And but I did save them a lot of money by redesigning the warehouse in Beehive Clothing, and so despite that, they still wanted me fired. They even started, because when they started to want me fired, they initiated only members are allowed to work at church properties. The print center was the exception, and they were going to grandfather out those who were non-members working in the print center. But the rest of the operations, they only wanted Mormons, and the only way to ensure that they guaranteed that it were active Mormons was to do a temple recommend check on those who worked with them. And if you didn't have a temple recommend, you're gone. And so yes, they did the temple recommend checking from then on out, hoping that I would be excommunicated or would have missed my appointment with the bishop to renew it. Dum 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 dum. I was still a church service missionary with a curriculum department. They weren't going to catch me without a temple recommend. I was going to the temple every single day. They had an active member who was supporting Joseph Smith's translation work, and they threw me away. And now I'm their worst nightmare. So, Mormons, let this be a lesson to you. If you want the church to prosper, you gotta leave people alone and let them develop. and grow, which means you have to come out and say, hey, yeah, Brigham Young didn't have authority, and so we're revising the church from what Brigham Young established, and yeah, you got to restore the church. That was what you need to do in order to save yourselves now. You have to have a president of the church come out and say, we're false. Brigham Young did not have authority to lead the church, and as a result, many horrible conditions resulted in our church, and we need to put a stop to that. And as of this conference, I am revising and restoring the original ancient order, and these are what we're going to do. That's all they have to do. They're not going to do it, are they? Because then they'll have to get into the decision of, uh-oh, how do we let anybody into the leadership of the church? We want just old white men who are related by blood. This will ruin everything. We'll have to give women the priesthood. This will destroy us. See, they won't do it. They won't do what is necessary to save the church. And yeah, they're losing money like crazy, and they're losing members, 13 million. And so now they're getting into illegal dealings with laundering money through their LLC companies, 32 billion according to Fox 13 Utah last year, and they're funneling that through the stock market. And Trump, of course, made the executive order saying that nobody needs to report who they get their money from to the IRS, and so the church can, you know, funnel money from Russia and other enemies of the United States and not have to report it. And that's what they're doing in order to make money as the membership dwindles. And so yeah, and they think that they're silencing the women by changing the temple first covenant, and so women no longer have to commit suicide if they violate their temple covenants and obeying their husband. And so, you know, what's it going to take, Mormons? What's it going to take? You're in a sinking ship. And yet I had an elder, because he called himself Elder, and I can't remember what his last name was, sneaking onto YouTube, looking at videos. You're not supposed to, Elder. Naughty, naughty. He was saying in my video where I warn members to get off the boat because it's sinking, he put in the comments, "Stay on the boat, stay on the boat," all caps and exclamation points. And so, yeah, I replied with, "Elder, are you supposed to be looking on my channel? I don't think so." Never heard from him again. But, all right, so it's 3 o'clock-ish. I need to do part 2 of the polygamy video. I'm a bit worn out. I think I've got everything taken care of that I need to take care of with all this equipment stuff. So, alrighty. I don't know. I may not get to it today. I may relax and catch up on it tomorrow. So we'll see. But yeah, it's Friday, so you'd think there'd be a Friday. Oh man, what's going on? Okay. apparently it goes into a screensaver mode if I have the mute button off for too long. So there's going to be some new things to adjust to. Alrighty. So yeah, Saturday would be a good time to work on part 2 of polygamy. Okay. That's all I can think of for right now. Enjoy the polygamy video, because there's some bombshells. Right from the beginning, I expose from the church's own gospel topic essay that they lie in it. And they lie in order to create the scenario of their apologetic defense. Because apology does not mean I'm sorry. That's an added definition later on. The original is an unsound defense of a position. And so, yeah, Mormons have apologists down at BYU, and they're trying to make the BYUs turn into a apologetic studies rather than a scientific study course curriculum. So I'm pretty sure that when word gets out to the other universities, students are not going to be able to transfer a whole lot of credits to other schools. Similar to going from Ricks up into the University of Lethbridge. They didn't take much of my biblical studies classes, because that was my part of my dual major bachelor's, biblical studies, and they didn't take any of the Mormon religion stuff. So I had to start from scratch in their biblical studies program. I had to learn from them. And so yeah, I learned from Thomas Robinson. He was the main teacher in biblical studies, and the documentary hypothesis was the big thing back then. So I learned all about the documentary hypothesis and how it's now wrong as I pursued my research after graduating. And I took Greek from him too. He asked me right as I finished the class in the summertime. I took a summer class to finish things up and add Greek to my minor in ancient, or they called it ancient languages, but they were classical languages. Biblical Hebrew, Greek, and Latin are classical languages, but they called it ancient languages, so they were a little wrong on that. Ancient languages are Mesopotamian and Egyptian and Paleo-Hebrew, but oh well, doesn't matter. Yeah, he asked me at the end of class if I would program a ROM, a CD-ROM for computer work. You know, before we had Windows computer systems, we had the ROM service, and he wanted me to do the inputting of a lesson quiz test or whatever on there. If you go buy his book, I believe they have the CD-ROM available in his dictionary. I'll put the link in so that you can see what I would have been the one responsible for making. I referred it to John Penny, and so I'm not sure if I remember John saying he did it. I think he refused because he had other things to do, but I can't remember. So, alright. I'll probably do a video later on catching up on the comments. Last I saw it was 10, so I will probably do that. So, alright. Alrighty.